That's what I said to my husband. Open that. So yeah, so I'm looking for a low-key holidays too.
Okay. Calling the Planning and Zoning Board meeting of Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. The Planning and Zoning Board serves as an advisory to the City Commission, and any items heard today will be heard at the City Commission on December 1st, 2025. Liz, could we have a roll call, please?
Jack Susie,
Present.
Heather Norton,
Here,
Miguel Hicks.
Here.
Susan Case.
Here.
Colin Young,
Present.
Christina Novus. Here. Caroline Allison.
Here.
Sylvia Maracus.
Here.
Thank you.
Well, can we have approval of the, let's talk about the, any motions or deletions of the meeting on October 8th, 2025? Are there any additions or deletions? Anybody? No? Okay, can I have a motion to accept the minutes of the October 8th, 2025 meeting?
I move to approve the meeting minutes of October 28, 2025.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes. Okay. We have a new item here, new business, public hearing. Let me get here. It's a site plan application for approximately 1,200 square foot addition with a new porte cochere and parking expansion. The location's at 225 McMullen Booth Road, Countryside Baptist Church, in Safety Harbor. And staff, would you like to present this site modification plan?
Thank you, Chair. My name is Derek Reeves. I'm the Assistant Community Development Director for the city, and I will be presenting this site plan case tonight. So the request, as you stated, is for site plan application approval for an approximately 11,200 square foot addition with a new porte cochere and parking lot expansion. The applicant is Countryside Baptist Church, with the representative Greg Presby, as well as legal representation by Brian Ungst and church representative Olivia Spurlock. An area of property, approximately 7.06 acres, located on McMullen Booth Road. The property has a future land use map designation of institutional and a zoning map designation of public and conservation. This is a photo of the property looking northeast from the entrance off of McMullen Booth Road. So the face of the building there is the location of the addition that we're talking about, and I'll have a site plan here in a couple slides. This photo is from the northwest corner of the site looking southeast. So the addition will come out from the corner of the structure here towards McMullen Booth Road, approximately 25 feet, and then continue along the face of the structure. And then finally, a third photograph that is looking southeast, kind of from the middle of the frontage on McMullen Booth Road. You can see the far southern corner of the existing church structure there. This is the area of the most significant changes for the parking lot expansion with those existing trees. Here is the site plan of the property and some highlights of the project. So as I said, it's approximately 11,200 square foot addition. That's the gray area shown on the site plan here, with this kind of T-shaped building being the existing structure. And then there is another large structure behind that one that's a school that's not having any changes as a part of this project. There is a new porte cochere towards McMullen Booth. That's this area here. And then reconfigured parking and expanded parking. Our last site plan approval was for 61 spaces, a mix of grass and paved spaces, and they're going to 126 spaces as part of this plan. And then they'll also bring their landscaping up to code as a part of this project. The new space is an expanded lobby, new bathrooms, multi-purpose room, and administrative offices. And I have some preliminary plans here. These are not final, so no square footages or use of the space is confirmed at this point. This is just kind of to give you an idea of what they're looking to do within this space. So the area in the red box is kind of the existing footprint of the structure. And in the area at the bottom of the slide is the new space being added. So you've got some bathrooms, lobby space, their multi-purpose room, and then the second floor is this image over here, that would be over this southern end of the building, is administrative offices. So, as I mentioned, the property is zoned public and conservation, which does allow for semi-public facilities. Specifically, you can see under permitted uses, churches, with the asterisk that it is compatible with institutional planning category. And as I already mentioned, the future land use plan designation is institutional. For dimensional requirements on this project, the maximum height within the district is 35 feet, and they have stated they will comply with that height requirement. Minimum yards, so your setbacks, are in accordance with the approved site plan for this district. So I went through what they are proposing here. The west side, so that's your frontage along McMullen Booth Road, will be 25 feet, and that's to the new portico share that they're constructing on that side. The actual face of the building will be about 70 feet back from that, with some variation because there's offsets in the building. The north side, so that's along Rainbow Farms Drive, is existing 25 feet to that existing portico share on that side, with the building actually being about 90 feet back, and as I mentioned, the addition will be in line with that face on that side of the property. On the east side, so that'll be 247 feet, that's existing to that two-story school building that I mentioned earlier that's not having any changes as part of this. And in the south, 252 feet, so that's towards the commercial businesses to the south there. Maximum Florida area ratio is 0.65 in this district, with a proposed 0.11, so well within requirements. Parking, churches require one space per 10 seats for their general place of assembly. They are allowed to have a portion of their property be grass parking, as long as they provide paved parking for their weekday staff. And then for the school use, because that's also occurring on the site, you have one space per employee plus 3 spaces per classroom. So the breakdown is shown here. School employees, they have 32 required, 32 provided. Classrooms, they have 16 classrooms, requires 48 spaces, 48 are provided. The church weekday employees, they have 7, they're actually providing 8 spaces for that. It'll be all paved, so all those spaces are paved. And then the assembly seats, they're saying 380 seats, required 38, and those will be provided on grass. For a total of 126 provided spaces, one above the requirement based on their specs on this development. Some other development considerations, this is in the flood zone X, so no flood plain development requirements there. For utilities, there are no new connections or upgrades to the services required as a part of this addition. Landscaping, we brought to code where deficient, plus new plantings as required within the parking lot expansion. That nets 66 new shade trees with 9 species, 21 accent trees with 3 species, another 21 palm trees with 3 species of those, 565 shrubs, 8 species, and over 4,200 ground cover plantings. So those are the things that kind of go in your islands and that within the parking lot. There is a little bit of a custom parking lot design to protect several of the trees, including 2 grand trees. So those are those trees I showed in the picture. We are removing a few of those. Some are invasive, some are in poor condition, but they are mitigating well beyond anywhere. They are removing trees and they are preserving several, as I said, including 2 grand trees in that area. For sidewalks, there's existing sidewalk on McMullen Booth Road, and then they have requested a waiver for the sidewalk along Rainbow Farms Drive, which that neighborhood does not have any sidewalks within it, so it would just be along their frontage if they did construct one. So your standards for site plan review are governed by section 229.04. No site plan shall be recommended for approval or receive final action of approval unless that application has been found to comply with all of the following. 1, the applicable provisions of this code, 2, the comprehensive plan, 3, the city's concurrency management system, and 4, all other applicable city building codes. Staff finds that the request meets those standards for site plan review of that section, and the site plan was advertised pursuant to section 265 of the Development Code. So tonight, the Planning and Zoning Board's action is a motion to recommend approval of stipulations or denial, oops, typo in there, sorry for that, not conditional use, site plan 2025-30. Staff recommended stipulations, they were in the staff report from the TRC. So that's erosion control measures, right-of-way permits, swift mud permit, Southwest Florida Water Management District, and right-of-way restoration upon completion of the project. So that is my presentation tonight. Available for any questions, and I know the applicants also have a presentation for you as well.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
How does fire plans review work? When does the site plan get seen by the fire plans reviewer?
So the fire marshal is within the city and is a part of our technical review committee, TRC.
So he's okay with the site plan? There's no fire lane requirements?
All of that has been complied with. They didn't have any conditions for this project.
Okay.
And the structure will be reviewed separately when that comes in for permitting.
And then loading areas. I didn't see any on the plan. Is it required to have a loading area?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Derek? Okay, thank you, Derek. You said we have another presentation for the applicant. Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Good evening, Madam Chair. Brian Ungst, 625 Court Street, here on behalf of the applicant, Countryside Baptist Church Incorporated. I'm joined by Olivia Spurlock, the technical director for the church, and also by Brian Barker, who is our civil engineer, our expert in site plan design, and can answer any technical questions that you have that Derek hasn't already answered. I'm sure you're very familiar with this site, as I am. I live less than half a mile away. This is Eastland Boulevard. This is a signalized intersection. This is the Countryside Baptist Church. This has been in existence on site since the early 1970s. This building in the back, the school building, was added in about 1990, which would have been your last site plan approval. There is a right-of-way that connects Rainbow Farms to the front of this property. It's right here. It's kind of hard to see. It's not on the church's property, but there's actually a right-of-way that connects this neighborhood across the frontage of the church to the church's driveway, which gives them access to that signalized intersection at Eastland Boulevard. So I wanted to make sure that the committee was aware of that, because I anticipate you might hear some questions or comments about traffic from the neighborhood. Nothing about that is changing. That is a public right-of-way that is in existence and is frequently utilized to get in and out of this neighborhood and provides a convenient access to the neighborhood. So this is not about expanding capacity or expanding enrollment for either the sanctuary, the church, or the school. This is about serving existing capacity for what is a very successful neighborhood church in an institutional land use in a preservation zoning district. So I want to make sure that we're clear when we get into the design of the project. As you know, to the north, you have the Rainbow Farms neighborhood. To the east, you have the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch, which is also institutionally zoned and has the public and conservation, has the public and conservation zoning and the institutional land use. And to the south, we have now a very popular brand new Wendy's. We have the gas station and Bonefish and this shopping center, which has been there for many, many years, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with. Just from a planning perspective, institutional land uses and preservation zonings are considered essentially a transitional buffer between a neighborhood and a commercial active use. And so that's what we have, and that's what we're doing. So the proposed site plan amendment is not asking for any variances to setbacks, height, anything like that. It actually brings the property up to code. So right now, the church is so blessed in its mission that we have cars that are essentially parking on this grass area down here. When you see the site plan, you're going to see this will all be brought up to code for traffic circulation, ingress, egress, parking. We are providing in excess of the required parking spaces, where now, as Derek said, there's only 61 parking spaces. We're not getting any closer to the neighborhood use. We're keeping this 90-foot to building, 25-foot to portico share setback to the neighborhood use, and we're only going about 25 feet closer to McMullen Booth Road. So hopefully that is a pretty good explanation of what's happening. Also want to emphasize that in this land use, we have a 0.65 available floor area ratio per code, which means 65% of this 7-acre site could be covered by pervious structure. And even with this expansion, we're only going to 0.11, which is 11%. So we're well below the entitled floor area ratio for what could be done here. Also wanted to just address that the actual footprint of the build-out towards McMullen Booth Road is only 6,800 square feet. It's got that second floor over the southern side. That's where you get to the 11,200. So not that entire structure will be 2 stories, but I'll show you again that here in a second. Again, we're providing the 126 in excess of parking spaces, and we're increasing the existing 26,000 to 33,000 in terms of the footprint with the 2-story addition over that portion. So this is the build out for the grand entrance, the lobby, the foyer. This will be the 2-story portion of the structure. This is the existing structure. There's no expansion of the sanctuary or anything that's existing other than interior renovations. So again, this isn't about, increasing capacity or increasing traffic or increasing uses. This is all about bringing the site up to code for the current traffic, the current parking, the current ingress egress, and also for stormwater drainage, which will obviously be a significant improvement because back the last time the site was addressed in the 90s, we did not have the current stormwater drainage attenuation, treatment, all of those things that you all know about. Again, you've already seen this database. This is a conceptual, this is the current existing structure, so none of this is changing other than potentially interior renovations. This is the add-on here into this area, and this is the 2-story portion, as Derek showed you earlier. And this is the second floor, this is offices. Bottom floor is, bottom floor is classrooms and the multipurpose room. So again, this, as Derek pointed out, we're not seeking any variances or waivers to height or setbacks or intensity. We're well below the intensity. This is all about serving the current demand for what's actually happening on site and improving the site, bringing it up to code and making it better for everyone, for the city and the neighborhood and the folks who use the church. So we meet all of the code requirements. I've provided you, I'm going to use the legal term now, I've provided you competent substantial evidence, and Derek has provided you, as the city's expert, competent substantial evidence that all of the approval criteria have been met or if not exceeded. And we're happy to answer any questions that you have, and hopefully this presentation, Derek's presentation, has helped folks in the audience understand what's being proposed, and if they have any additional questions, we'd be happy to try to address those in our summation. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
A couple. So
Representative?
how does student drop-off work?
Student drop-off, do you want to address that, Brian or Olivia?
Olivia might be better, 'cause I'm not really sure.
The student drop-off?
Yeah, could you come up to the microphone, please? And so, try to,
You could go to
which
a different picture.
this one is not what's going to be there, though. This is what's going to be there. So I think what we're talking, you're asking how does it work under the new plan?
How will it work in the new
Right,
plan?
so this is the traffic circulation down here, see that? Is it hard for you to, it's kind of hard to read.
Kind of,
So this is the drive, this is Rainbow, and then you come down here.
Mhm.
Would you rather use the other one?
if we could.
Okay, no problem.
Because the school drop-off won't change from what
It
it's
should
got.
change. So currently, my name is Olivia Spurlock. I'm the tech director at Countryside Baptist Church, so thank you for having us tonight. Currently, the drop-off for the school, it means 3 times a week. They come in here, they go through this driveway, they drop off right at that current porte-cochere, and then they will come out, and they currently go out on Rainbow Farms and leave that way, or they will circle the building and leave that way. Currently, that plan is not changing. Adding the additional building right here will not add anything. In fact, having better parking here we could actually reroute the parking circle to not even need to go onto Rainbow Farms anymore. And the school is open to that.
Okay. I like the development, no problems at all. I'm a little curious, all those, and this might be apocryphal, all those ADA spaces that you have at the porte cochere, wouldn't they be better around the corner? That porte cochere is going to be used for drop-off, isn't it?
The ADA spaces by building, I'm sorry, Brian Barker, I'm the civil engineer.
How you doing, sir?
Good, thank you. Well, the ADA spaces, to meet ADA code, have to be closest to the front door.
50 feet to the front door? They have to have accessible route. They don't have to be to the front door.
Well, it depends on the interpretation, but.
If that's what your client wants, no problem at all.
Okay.
I'm just saying, they're going to be empty 90% of the time, and all that space is needed, really needed for porte cochere drop-off.
Typically, they need to be the closest spaces to the front door.
Understood.
I've seen it interpreted that way by architects and building officials, but I agree with you. They are almost, if you go to Home Depot, all the spaces up front, they're always empty.
Yeah, I mean, it would seem like if you put them around the corner with accessible route, that might serve the building better.
Sure. Yeah. The building official will be amenable, we can certainly look at that.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions with the presentation person? Okay. We have people in the audience. Are there any people in the audience that wish to be heard? Okay, can we have you come up one at a time and state your name and your address?
My name is Melissa Downey. My address is 2018 Rainbow Farms Drive, directly across from the church in the residential neighborhood. We are the church's neighbors, and we are proud Safety Harbor residents. This proposed expansion and what it will do to our residential neighborhood, our peaceful enjoyment of our home, and our property value is of great concern to us and to many others in our neighborhood. The proposed plan is very large. Many specifics are missing. We do not wish to live through years of construction, noise, and also devaluation of the home we worked hard to purchase. We live in our home full-time. We work from home and homeschool our children. This large proposed project could disrupt every aspect of our lives during construction and beyond. That being said, the specific concerns we have on the proposed expansion are as follows. What is the estimated time that the project would last? When would it start? The permit for the drainage pond has already been approved. Is the city or county involved in this as well? During what hours would construction be done? Will we be woken at 7 a.m. for months or years? This has an impact not only for us, but for our young growing children. The proposed building addition has virtually no information as to what it will look like or how it will truly be used. Additional classrooms, to me, says growth of the school. In the email exchange I had with Mr. Reeves, he also felt that there was proposed growth for the school and church included in this. I wish the church well. We've been open to being helpful to them, but it's a concern for where we live. What impact is the future land use being institutional? We are concerned that the church hopes for future school expansion, I mentioned that, and that perhaps this will happen after this is approved. It could cause an increase in traffic. We already get backed up at school drop-off times. Noise and nuisances as per Safety Harbor City Code directly opposite and coming into our school, into our home. We already hear whistleblowing and yelling by coaches inside our home during the school's PE, school staff yelling during pickup, and deal with parking opposite our home for multiple church services and community program each week. Traffic is increased at these times and has been at times hazardous. While the landscaping plan for the western side of the church facing McMullen Booth is extensive, the proposed plan to screen our residential neighborhood from the planned parking, backside of buildings, and unscreened maintenance corral is not. The existing hedge, as it is called on the plans opposite our property, is 7 scraggly bushes that have not been maintained and do not legally screen the current parking or maintenance corral from our residential neighborhood. The decline in current state can be seen on Google Map photos since 2007. The church has already had a history of code violations with garbage, construction refuse, and inoperable vehicle in the church's dumpsters sitting exposed for years before the code compliance officer was able to get the church to come into partial compliance. What the church has opposite our house is still not currently in compliance per section 36.05 of City Code. We do not feel the current proposed expansion should be approved, as is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to be heard? Please state your name and address.
I'm Robert Andresick. Our address is 2071, so we share kind of the largest property line with you. So my wife and I have been your neighbors for a few years. The big thing that our biggest concern, first of all, congratulations on your expansion.
Could you address the board, please?
Yes, yeah, so congrats on your expansion. I myself, was a part of a church that, started in a high school and expanded. So, it's definitely tough, especially in this day and age when, attendance is down and whatnot. My wife and I, our biggest concern is I think there was a plan that hasn't even been mentioned yet about a pretty large opaque fence, like going all the way through our property line. I think starting in the back, going up front. I don't know if we're able to pull up the map there. You have a beautiful property in the back. My wife and I really, we really enjoy, observing the nature back there, animals, whatnot. We've even, uplifted our house to, put a big window there to, observe everything. I guess our request is, if you consider, removing that as a part of the, part of the planning. I know it wasn't mentioned, but definitely affects our property value, our view. We try to be good neighbors towards you guys, so just something, we'd appreciate if you guys would take that into consideration for my wife and I and our growing family. We also have a swing that's like right there that our kids are on, all the time. That would essentially take out our, our swing that's on the tree that's on our property line, but it's very close to the property line where the proposed fence was. So we just appreciate you taking that into consideration for us.
Can you show them where the fence is? Because at no point anybody has mentioned it, so I don't think anybody here has actually seen what we're talking about, like.
Okay.
I think they're aware of what you're talking about. Do you have anything else to say? You all set?
Yeah, I'd
Yes.
like to see, if you could point out exactly on the map what you're referring to. Do we have the pointer?
So he's referencing kind of this dark line along this portion of the property, and this note here on the plans is for the 6-foot opaque fencing.
Okay,
So that's
thank
the
you.
largest part of our property line, so that would just essentially run from all the way from our backyard, all the way through our front yard and up. So. Oh, yep. Yep, so it would run, starting in our backyard all the way through up our front. So, congrats on your expansion, but, we'd appreciate if you take that into consideration, possibly removing that. That would definitely, we'd appreciate that if you take that into consideration. Yep.
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Anybody else who'd like to be heard? Please state your name and address.
Hi, Ashley Sanchez, 2055 Brookside Drive. I live in the Rainbow Farms area, and my home backs up to Bishop's Creek. I would just want to see their plans on the drainage issue, just because if we're getting porous, ground, that the extra rain can potentially seep through, and then if we have a bunch more concrete, therefore I'm worried that extra rain and all that would go off into our neighborhood, which already gets flooded. And the creek behind my home, it comes up to the edge, and I'm losing the entire back of my yard. So I wouldn't want additional stormwater drainage to go behind that area. So that's what I would be interested in seeing, is the whole drainage plans that were mentioned, but I haven't seen any, plans up there about it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else who wishes to be heard? Please state your name and address.
Hello. My name is Christine Desjardins. I live at 2063 Brookside Drive, the very northeast corner of this property here, where that conservation area is, really does not drain there. My backyard drains right into my backyard, and I have 2 feet of water with the normal summer storm we have. The hurricanes last time, the water in that kind of ditchy area it took almost a whole month for it to drain away. So I just am really concerned with the amount of water that stays put there. I don't want to eventually end up having the mosquito lake back there with some little filter. So that's my biggest concern, is that we just have water rushing right out of that area. And now we're taking away more earth. So I just see, where is that water going to go? And I know at the youth ranch, they suffer with some of that flooding in that area too. So, because I had talked to them about it once before.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else who wishes to be heard? Please state your name and address.
Sorry, just if you could, I'm Mary Lou Andresik. My husband was up earlier, so we're 2071. Of piggybacking off of all the other concerns, the big one is construction. Obviously, that's going to be uncomfortable for most people. Just in the emails, it said that they don't start any construction before 7 a.m. If there's any way to maybe negotiate an 8 a.m., I've got a 2-month-old, a 1-year-old, and a 3-year-old. I need my 1-year-old to keep waking up at 8:30 in the morning, because if not, I won't function. You know, so if there's any way, because it's going to be a lengthy construction time, to consider maybe not 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, since they're so close to a residential area. Maybe 8 a.m., something more appropriate. I know other neighbors homeschool and stuff. Just small request.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Anybody else who wishes to be heard? All right, then we're going to, one more, okay. Your name and address, please.
Of course. My name is Chris Agostino. I live at 2018 Rainbow Farmers Drive. My wife spoke earlier. So we're directly across from the north side. So we walk out of our front house and we look at that side of the church. Some of the things we're concerned, and it's a very ambitious project. And I know that over the past couple of years, there's been some code issues and violations that the church has had. One had to deal with their dumpster surround. It took 2 years to actually replace that, to relocate it, to get it taken care of. Multiple emails back and forth, phone calls. Mr. Bushy was very helpful in trying to get this resolved for us. There's other codes that still haven't been fixed. And my big concern about this is them getting into this project. If those took so long to get accomplished on a much smaller scale, how is this expansion going to play out? Is it well funded? Is this part of the expansion for the drainage that's taking place in the quoted pond area that's been spoken about before, where it does rise and fill with water? Is that being subsidized through the city? How is that being handled? You know, the thing with the dumpster sounds small, but that's what we saw when we walked out of our house. So these were exposed. As my wife mentioned earlier, you can see just the degradation of the surrounding planting in that area as well, and it's all exposed. Just tonight I walked down and they had a car parked on the driveway, literally the exit from their church into Rainbow Farms Drive, as well as up on the grass directly to park from our house. So these are concerns we have. You know, I keep going, the dumpster and their maintenance shack is supposed to be covered. It has to have an opaque area. They have a maintenance storage area on the backside of the school. And that's been cited actually as recently as March of '25, and it still hasn't been closed or covered up or anything. So it's either from just a lack of funding or a lack of concern. And both of those are detrimental to a project of this size. So I really think it needs to be taken into consideration. I think there needs to be some really deep dive into how this is really going to take place. Because as someone who lives across the street, who works from home, who have their kids raised there, who we teach from home, this directly impacts our quality of life. And it needs to be addressed and looked at. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Okay, we have another person here. Please state your name and address.
Yes, Blanca Gonzalez, 2036 Rainbow Farms Drive. And one of my main concerns is the amount of traffic that we're going to be getting in and out, as it is when the people are dropping off or picking up children. Sometimes it's very difficult to navigate that area. And the other issue is that I'm concerned with the value of our houses in the area. What's going to happen to our houses in our area?
Okay, thank you very much. Does anybody else want to be heard? Okay. If no one wants to be heard, then we'll ask for the rebuttal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just very briefly, in terms of the opaque wall on the northern side, northeastern side, that's a code requirement. If the city would support a waiver to eliminate that portion of the wall, we would be absolutely fine with that. So what I can commit to you is we will, before the city commission hearing, confer with staff, and if they are agreeable or supportive of that, submit a revised plan to take to the city commission. This is the first case I've had in 18 years of practicing law where a neighbor didn't want an opaque wall. Opaque walls are in the code to protect the neighbors. But in this case, I understand, given the kind of rural kind of area back there that's unique to this area. So we'd be absolutely fine with it if the city is supportive of it, and if the city commission would approve that. So we're happy to explore that. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Barker to talk about the stormwater and drainage. And we do already have a SwiftMud approved permit for the drainage plan for this project. Yes.
So we did have to apply for a SwiftMud permit, the Water Management District, and they scrutinize every facet of all the calculations we do. The permit has been issued. Let me just run through the way this whole entire site, everything drains in its current state through the back corner right here. There's a swale that runs to Bishop Creek, off-site. In the proposed condition, the rules that we have to meet, we are holding the 100-year, 24-hour storm event in this pond. So theoretically, if we get a 100-year storm event, it's going to be held in this pond, which is greater than the current capacity of that pond now. When this pond was constructed, and we're going to do that by, we're actually reshaping the side banks to a certain extent, and we are modifying this wall drainage structure here in the back. It was built in 1990. As you can imagine, it's due for some work. There is an under drain. It's kind of a weird system that you wouldn't see permitted now that we're taking out, and we're putting in a brand new filter system to clean the water up before it leaves. But I think the bigger concern here is more water leaving the site, which is not going to be the case. We're actually lessening the water that will be leaving the site with the addition of the increased impervious surface. So all the drainage, it currently goes here now to the same location, but it will be running through a swale back here, conveyed to a pond that has more volume and has a modified outfall control structure. That's where the historic drainage goes. There's nothing, this is the property line here. There's nothing that the church can do, off their property, of course. So, whatever is going on up here, whatever these people are experiencing, what we're doing on our site is going to improve the situation, not exacerbate it.
Thank you, Mr. Barker. And just briefly on some of the other issues, there are no code enforcement violations pending on the site. This is the view on the overhead. Whoops, I did not do that correctly, did I? There we go. This is the view of the dumpster enclosure from Rainbow Drive, which is fully enclosed per code, and that is existing. So there are no code enforcement violations pending on the site. And again, not to belabor the point, but the entire purpose of this project is to bring the site up to code for everything. Landscaping, parking, traffic, fire lanes are approved. It meets the code. We're not asking for any variances for height or density or setbacks or anything. We're 0.11 FAR where we could be 0.65. The land use has been institutional and is institutional. The land use is not changing. As you know, this is simply a site plan approval. So respectfully, again, I believe we've addressed the concerns. The staff has reviewed this thoroughly. We're willing to work with the community. So to the extent we can work on the wall and other issues, we will. And we look forward to hopefully getting a recommendation of approval from the board for the city commission. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, I'm going to close public comment, and I'm going to bring discussion back to the board. So why don't we start over here?
They've answered all my questions, so
Okay.
I'm satisfied.
I think it's efficient and it's going to be an improvement to the property, bringing anything that may be expressed concerns by neighbors. It looks like it's going to be improved. Drainage has been addressed. I think it looks like an appropriate use of the land space and still well under what is allowable per code. So I think it's well thought out and well planned.
No comment.
So I did notice while reviewing the planting, the tree removal, and that a lot of the trees were labeled as damaged by equipment. So I'm curious how the trees got to that condition, and, you know, if that's indicative of what's going to keep happening to them. I mean, I do agree that in general, the plan as it's provided looks like it's improving things. You know, I'm sympathetic to the looking at scraggly bushes that are not screening the dumpster. Unfortunately, we can only recommend what the code requires. We can't go beyond that, other than perhaps making a recommendation to the commission that they take into consideration some of the concerns raised by the local residents. I mean, my experience in the past in dealing with disputes over development is if you can come to an agreement without getting anything legal involved in it, shall we say, you know, if the church and the residents can work together to address some of these issues, that would be the best outcome. Because as I said, we only make recommendations to the commission. The commission can choose to ignore or accept our recommendations. We can also only recommend things as far as they apply, as far as the code applies. And by right, the church can do this, given that they've met, as far as we can tell, all the code requirements for this. That's sort of my commentary on it.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Christina?
I agree. As Mr. Onks pointed out, it does meet all of the code requirements, and that's what we're really reviewing here. It's not, it's not for any other reason, so I agree.
Yeah, everything Heather, Colin, and Christina have said, that I echo all of it.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
Well, what the last 3 or 4 have
Okay.
said.
I can say this, I'm very sympathetic to the neighbors. I understand how you feel, and we don't take it lightly. I think that the applicants have addressed some of your concerns, and I think that I'm hoping that they will be good stewards and good neighbors. However, I do want to say that these people have a right to develop the land within the code. And based on, we're supposed to here, as a board, look at the criteria and approve this plan or disapprove it based on the criteria that's presented, that we have to go through. Based on the criteria that I see the project is, in my mind, a favorable project. So I don't have any problems. I do like to see some, the staff look at that opaque screening and some of the other things that maybe we could tweak this plan a little bit with the applicant. But all in all, I don't see a reason to deny this. So I would like to make a motion. I'd like to have somebody make a motion on this item.
I move to approve the site plan, proposed site plan revision 2025-30 SD.
With the stipulations.
With the stipulations that come
By the
from the
city.
meeting with the city.
Yes. Anybody second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay. That ends the public hearing here, and let's see, do we have any comments from anybody in the committee, just overall? No? Okay. Carol, do you have any comments?
No report tonight, thank you.
No reports? Derek? Okay. Well, then I would say that meeting is adjourned.
So I don't